Thank you. Can we just begin with a brief moment of silence, please? Just a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you've been having a good day. The little ones are getting ready to show up any minute, so that's an exciting part of what we have ahead. It's really an honor to introduce Micah Hendler, who is, of course, an alum, and there's many alumni that I've had an opportunity here today to teach and to be around and to watch them grow to do these amazing things. And Micah is certainly one of them. He is from the class of 2007 and is founder and artistic director of the Jerusalem Youth Chorus, an Israeli-Palestinian music and dialogue project featured for its innovative musicianship and integrity of purpose and process, from The Late Show with Stephen Colbert to the New York Times. Through the co-creation of music and the sharing of stories, the chorus empowers young singers from East and West Jerusalem to speak and sing their truths as they become leaders in their communities and inspire singers and listeners around the world to join them in their work for peace, justice, inclusion, and equality. Micah had such tremendous energy when he was here that I'm not at all surprised that he's channeled his immense musical talent and positivity into something that is really making a difference in the world. It is really my honor to introduce to all of you Micah Hendler from the class of 2007.
Hello. Wow, this is amazing. What an incredible honor to be here. Thank you, Mr. Garman, Thomas Sidwell. Bye. For such a kind introduction, and to all of you for being here and for welcoming me to share my story today. I'll just say, like, music often speaks louder than words, and so rather than starting by talking a lot about the music, I wanted the music to speak for itself. And so we're going to actually start with a little music video. That was also actually a Sidwell collab with Melinda Reese, if any of y'all know Melinda, who's a multi-platform influencer, amazing artist, and also a friend from Sidwell. This is Reason to Love. Here we go. Thanks very much. It's kind of surreal to see that video on like 4 screens and in such incredible surround sound in this place where actually the chorus has performed. We came here in 2015 and did a concert with the Sidwell Chamber Chorus and the Children's Chorus of Washington actually here. So it's amazing to be back. And what I can say for me is, like, as somebody who is here now, like, this would have been inconceivable to me when I was here at Sidwell. I was bullied a lot. I was teased a lot. I was really, like, very much not at the peak of my social game, shall we say, when I was in middle school or high school, and really only really found community actually in groups of people who were singing. And that, to me, that was my lifeline when I was in high school and middle school and before that, was I knew that even if I wasn't accepted sort of everywhere else, that, like, in a group of people who were singing, I could find a home and I could find a place where I was accepted and valued and included, really, as my full weird self. And for me, that grew and became such an important part of really the rest of my life up until this point. As I saw in high school, I was singing in chorus and chamber chorus with Mr. Touchton, who is incredible and changed my life, and in consensual sound, what up? and also saw that sort of these communities also could hold sort of outside of Sidwell, and I started an a cappella group at my synagogue as well for teens who otherwise like really were not friends, and half of whom thought they couldn't sing, and I was like, no, but I know that you can because I like kind of overheard you singing that one time, and we started a group, and I saw that actually in doing so, I created a new community. Like I created a new circle of friends. That like really wasn't the point at all. I just wanted to get people to sing because I was a singing junkie. But ultimately I saw that in getting people to sing together, I could actually create a new community. And that blew my mind at age 15, that I like had the power to do that. And around that same time, that sort of became interwoven with another key strand of my life up until this point, which was really dialogue work as a transformative container and process that I really discovered actually thanks to Julia Lemley, who's sitting right there, who was in my advisory in 9th grade, and we were doing like a service trip. I think we were picking up trash in Rock Creek Park, and I overheard Julia talking to one of her friends about this summer camp that she went to with Israelis and Palestinians, and I was like, creep in, and I was like, wait, that's awesome. What is this that you're talking about? I totally wasn't listening creepily to your conversation. And she told me about it, and I applied the next day, and that camp was Seeds of Peace, which then I went to the following summer and totally blew my mind, as I had grown up in a very one-sided, sort of pretty standard sort of Jewish American Zionist narrative around Israel-Palestine, and then went to this summer camp where I was meeting Palestinians for the first time and hearing their stories, not in the context of some sort of battle in the news, but in the context of like, these are my friends and these are their stories. And when I know that I can trust, like I know that I can trust them and I see them telling these stories, so like what I learned must have been wrong about them. Like it must have been wrong, because there's no way that this person who's like crying, telling me how the Israeli soldier like shot their cousin while he was playing soccer, that's not a lie. That's not a propaganda point. That's like a real life experience. And so maybe I need to re-explore what I thought was true. And so that process was very powerful for me, and I stayed involved in dialogue work. And as I did, I saw that music could still play this incredible role in terms of creating community and bringing people together, creating a shared identity, even in a context where people are supposed to hate each other and have nothing in common. And so then I was like, wow, this is really what I want to do, because this is like combining this thing that I know has all this power and then this other thing, and whoa, I could do them together. Around that time, when I was sort of discovering that, was in like my senior year here at Sidwell. And for anybody who has senioritis at the moment and is maybe looking forward to a senior project, I would urge you to take your senior project seriously, because mine changed the course of my life. And in the course of my senior project, I was able to apprentice to Dr. Isai Barnwell, and anyone who maybe is in chorus or chamber chorus here, I'm sure has sung some of her music. She was a member of Sweet Honey in the Rock for 30 years and is an incredible composer, song leader, and musical activist here in DC. And I was able to learn from her really the role that music can and has played in bringing social change. I was able to also study a lot of the music of the African-American singing tradition, of which she is an expert, and really a tradition bearer in that sense. And also was able to learn from her how to lead community sing. So basically how to take any random group of people essentially and turn it into a singing community in one moment. And those were all things that have been incredibly important to me in this work. I'll fast forward a little bit. In college, I studied music and international studies at Yale. I studied Arabic classical music, and ultimately then wrote my senior thesis basically on like, to what extent is it possible? I've seen this work at Seeds of Peace at the summer camp in Maine, where you control all the variables and no one can leave, that you can do this music and dialogue thing. But can you do it on the ground in Jerusalem, where you control no variables and everyone can leave? And that then sort of was this question that I had in mind as I decided to move to Jerusalem and see if I could build something. And that was now 11 years ago and became the Jerusalem Youth Chorus, whose video you saw just now. And really, what has been so amazing for me about the chorus is that we really have succeeded in creating a home for people who otherwise may feel incredibly marginalized, potentially at odds, like maybe even existentially at odds with one another. But we've been able to create a shared space where everyone, even if they disagree vastly about basically everything, can feel like they equally own this space and equally belong to the space, and that the space is really for everyone and about how we can collectively use our voices to try to push for some changes in the realities of Jerusalem, which are pretty terrible. And yet, at the same time, Jerusalem, as a unique city that is valued and shared by Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, has this unique potential to be a point of commonality, and yet it becomes a point of like existential conflict. So like, how can we flip that, and what role can music play in doing that? What has been particularly moving for me also is to see the way that the singers themselves grow up in this chorus, and the way that it can really empower them to bring their own voices to the fore. And what I'm really, really excited about today is actually that the rapper from that music video, Amer Abu Arqub, is actually now our executive director. Because in addition to being a sick rapper, he also has an MBA and a law degree. And Amer is right here, and I'm really excited for you to hear from his story.
Hi, my name is Amir, and I am from Jerusalem. And I want to tell you how the chorus that Micah created actually changed my life and make me stand in front of you, all of you today here. I actually didn't grow up in Jerusalem. I grew up in a very small village called Bernabala, in 10 minutes where I live now in Jerusalem from Beit Hanina, where I used to go to the high school. I even remember the neighborhood we used to live in, Bernabala, and the compound with the family, and even playing soccer with my cousins. So me and my cousins usually used to go to schools walking to Beit Hanina in Jerusalem. 10 minutes walk and go back and play football. Until one day I was coming back from the school, and I'm seeing this big, tall wall is being built around my village. And that 10-minute walk turned into 1 hour drive in order for me to go to my school. But I was young, I was like 5th grade. I'm not gonna do that. I'm a fighter. So since the wall have been being still built, me and my cousins find this small hole where we can like squeeze from there and like climb this big rock that was there and basically go to school from there. And I remember feeling unsafe doing that, even though I got the blue ID where it gives me the right to live in Jerusalem. I remember even feeling unsafe when the security big jeeps would come from there and me and my cousins hide. Time passes, 6th grade. Police find my dad after the prayer in Bernabala and tell him, if you want to keep your residency, you need to move to Jerusalem. So the little me and my cousins, we all separate. Everyone goes to a different part of Jerusalem and we stop meeting. The little me who grew up in the small village now is in the big city, whereas everything is dangerous, where always you hear about violence happening in that city. So growing up felt so much, even more and more unsafe. And even being a Palestinian, growing up in Jerusalem, felt unseen and unheard. Time passes, and I meet Micah at the halls of the YMCA. I ask him to audition for the chorus, And the night before the auditions, I watched Captain America movie from Marvel, the first movie, before he becomes this amazing hero. He keeps applying for the army and they keep refusing him because he's not tall, he's not strong enough, and like he's not good for army. Until this one commander comes and accepts him. And he says, why me? And he tell him, I know you're not tall, I know you're not strong, and know you're not good for army, but you are a good man. So I go to the auditions the next day with Micah, and I wasn't gifted. I don't have good voice. I have not good voice. And I was like, Micah, I have a story to tell you. I know that I'm not a good singer. I know that my voice is terrible, but I am a good man. So, and the fact I'm here today, so I'm a good man. So, yeah, joined this dialogue and the music program, Israelis and Palestinians, where growing up in Jerusalem, it's separated in a way that I've never met one. And it's like the other side always, and we are enemies. And through the music and the dialogue process we go through, it changes my life. And I even remember the first time I held the microphone in the big hall, 600 people are watching. And the young me who felt unseen growing up, 600 people are hearing him now. So the chorus gave me to feel the feeling of seen and safeness in the home, because the chorus treats us singers as its children in their house, and it invests a lot in each one of them. And growing up in the chorus, I understood it's not only Amr the Palestinian who feels unsafe and unseen, it's also my friend, Jewish Israeli friend Shifra, who also feels that way. So last December, I chose to leave law, to leave 7 years of studies, to leave the office that I worked in, to work with the Jerusalem Youth Chorus that Micah created, in order for me to keep empowering those young kids in Jerusalem to feel more seen and more heard. And we all know how it feels to be unseen and unsafe. From the neighborhood, from the school, from the family. And that's why I took this role, to help those kids by bringing my vision and making the chorus to be more local and more vocal, more partnerships, and investing even more in those kids. And thank you so much, man. Thank you a lot. Thank you.
So what Amir was speaking about in terms of being more local and more vocal, I think really brings us to the next sort of phase. Is like, okay, so we're doing this in Jerusalem, but like, so what? And like, what does that have to do with life here at Sidwell? And I would say, obviously, for some folks, you know, what's happening in Jerusalem may be very close to home. And also for some of you, it may be something very far away. But there's a lot that's happening here in the US that is sadly similar, both on the level of profound injustice and on the level of profound polarization and conflict. And inabilities for people to hear one another. If there's sort of like a disagreement about one issue, it must mean that we disagree about absolutely everything and you must be evil, right? Like that our politics in the US has often become reduced to that. And we reduce one another and sort of flatten our identities in that way. While at the same time, I feel like there are two frames that I've seen in doing this bridge building work in Jerusalem and then also here in the US around, one is sort of a justice frame and one is what I'll call more of like a dialogue frame. And each is critical and each I think has blind spots if applied in exclusivity, which is to say that if we only view things from a place of like, I am right, this is wrong, then we lose the ability to actually hear people who might disagree in some way, but actually maybe we could bring to be allies in the fight to move in whatever direction, even if not perfect. And on the other side, from the bridge building side, if we just come from a place of like, how can we just meet in the middle? Like, not everything is about meeting in the middle. And often that sort of relativistic approach can be sort of spun by people who aren't actually trying to meet in the middle, but are just trying to make everything seem like it's fine and stall for time. And so I feel that both of those approaches are necessary. And so when Amr is talking about being local and being vocal, it really is about how can we both find a way to create a community where people who vastly disagree can all feel accepted and all feel like they own the space, while also collectively raising our voices for something that actually moves the needle. And so that's really what we're trying to do with the Jerusalem Youth Chorus. And what I would urge everybody to try on, right, is sort of like, where do we each fit in this sort of paradigm, and like, what are the ways that each of us maybe feel called to make a change, whatever that change is for each of us. One of the things that's really been amazing about the chorus, actually, apropos of the theme of hope, is that so much of what the chorus does actually is keeping hope alive and helping people to even imagine that things could be different. Because right now, so much of what's happening in Jerusalem is so cynical, and everyone is so burned so many times by trying to make change that people are like, well, I guess we just have to settle for this terrible situation, and like, why would I work to change it? And so one of the things that we can do through music, at least in our way, is to sort of activate that imagination for folks. And so that's actually what we're gonna do right now. And Amr, you wanna come and help me with this? We're gonna, I have a question for y'all. Do we have 2 minutes? Perfect. Okay. I'm just interested in asking the question of what gives y'all hope? Or yeah, just like one word, one phrase. What gives you hope? Or what are you doing to sort of bring hope in some way in your lives? Just like raise your hand, shout it out. One person. Yes. My friends, amazing. Somebody else. What? Pete Davidson, amazing. Other, we want 2 more. Yes. Dreaming of a better life, yes. And the last one? One more. What? My siblings, perfect. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do, because I know we're on the clock. We're going to turn those energies and those thoughts and those phrases into a song. Okay? So we're gonna start with dreaming of a better life. Okay? So you got dreaming of a better life. Dreaming of a better life. Can y'all do that? Dreaming of a better life. Dreaming of a better life. Keep it up. Dreaming of a better life. Dreaming of a better life. Dreaming of. I'd like to thank my friends. Folks in the middle, do that. 1. I'd like to thank my friends. Do that again. I'd like to thank my friends. Keep it up. I'd like to thank my friends. And over here we've got, I'd like to thank my siblings are my family. 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 Let's go. 4 more times. But 3 more times and up. But 2 more times. Last time. My family. Cool. Nice. Nice. So, thank you all so much. Have an awesome Founders Day. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Michael Hendler.